Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Financial Commute. Stacey, McKinnon, and I love traveling. And so we're going to talk today about some tips and tricks that you can use to save money while traveling. Stacey, I know you love traveling, and you just got back from a really amazing trip.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, this is my favorite topic.
Yeah.
I love this. My husband and I just got back from skiing in the Alps. We did Switzerland and France and Italy, and we did a structure where we did one spa day and one ski day, and it was just magical. I loved it so much.
Sounds amazing. Now, but this is not your first time going out
No.
there for this type of trip, so you've learned some things about structuring it differently.
Well, let's talk about travel hacks. It's cheaper to ski in Europe than it is to ski in the United States. Like now when you go to Mammoth or Big Sky or Jackson Hole, it's $250 to $300 a day just for the ski ticket, let alone the lodging and the flights and everything. And so a few years ago, my husband and I figured out that Europe, if you can pay for the flight, your hotels are more like $300 to $400 a night versus in Jackson Hole, the cheapest I could find for a decent hotel was like $700 to $800 a night. And skiing there, to ski the Matterhorn, which is what like Disney's Matterhorn is made out of, or created from, to ski the Matterhorn is only €75 a day versus 380 at Mammoth. Like I just don't understand it. And every single like chairlift is a gondola or a heated seat. And so it's a whole different world to ski in Europe. Speaking of travel hacks.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That flying that skiing on the Matterhorn
Yeah.
is €75.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes me back to when I was a kid, and I used to ski all the time with my parents. I remember a lift ticket was, $50.
Yes.
Versus 300 something today here in the
Why is it so expensive here? And the chairlifts are not that nice. So I don't understand. So yeah, we just got back and it was just so lovely to be there. Picked up a little cold on the way back. I guess that's what you get from 11 hours in a plane together with lots of other people. But other than that, it was so great. And while I was gone, you were also in Hawaii. So tell me about that trip.
I was talking with a friend recently because a lot of people travel over to Europe, and we both agreed that traveling to Europe is actually cheaper than going to Hawaii because of the points and the hotels and whatnot.
Yeah.
We just got back from a Hawaii trip. My wife is just crazy about points and credit card hacks, and so we just had an amazing time with the family for my daughter's 5th birthday. Can't believe she's 5.
Oh my gosh.
I think everyone on the island of Maui by the end of it knew that it was her birthday because she went around and told everybody, but we just had a fantastic time. The reason why I love Hawaii is because I'm in the water with the kids a lot. So it's one of the few places that I can go and really check out from work.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not in the water, then I'll just kind of check my email.
You don't want to ruin your phone, so you got to leave it on the beach.
Exactly. but we got lucky. We good time of the year, and I'm so jealous of people that are retired. Because if we tried to fly from Saturday to Saturday, it was going to be $900 a ticket. But because we got to fly Tuesday to Tuesday, it was $270.
Oh my gosh. You basically got almost 4 flights for the price of one if you to choose your days of the week that you flew on.
Yeah, having flexibility around when you're going to go is an amazing hack.
So I have a fun game that I like to play with friends after they get back where I ask 4 questions and you have to answer the 4, okay? First question, favorite part of the trip?
The first day we got there, we went right to the pool and then the ocean, and we walked out before dinner, and on the beach there was a honu, a sea turtle, right there on the beach. And we were the only ones sort of standing about 20, 25 feet away from this beautiful creature. Cool. The sun was setting. We turned around to go walk back to dinner, and it just starts pouring on us. And we got soaking wet, but we had so much fun. We were laughing about it the whole trip.
So beautiful, though. There's nothing like a Hawaii rain, right? Oh, it's warm, but it's drizzling on you. I love it.
We call them pineapple kisses. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun.
Least favorite part of the trip?
Coming home. I mean, look, traveling with little ones is a little bit more difficult, and so they just get a little bit unwired and glitchy, and they were great from the flight all the way to getting our bags, but then that 45-minute car ride from LAX back home at 11:30 at night when they're supposed to be sleeping, it was the longest 45 minutes, and so it's so tough.
Oh, it's
Brianna and I
so
were
hard.
talking about, okay, next time maybe we try to get a different flight home so that way it's a little bit more reasonable.
But given how LAX traffic is right now, it could have taken you 2 hours if it wasn't 11:30 at night. So
yeah, and just brutal. I mean, that's probably the worst part. The other part was probably having a little bit too much structure and not enjoying a little bit more local food like we normally like to. But, yeah.
What was the best hack of the trip? Like, what was your travel hack of the trip?
So Brianna she keeps track of all of our miles and status, and she makes sure that, we get the most bang for our buck that we possibly can. She has great status with American, and so going out there was 2 upgrades left to first class, but one of the people that was ahead of her in line they had a family too, and they didn't want to break up their family. We were fine with it. So I went up to first class.
Really?
Yep. And got to be able to enjoy it only because last time I'm not a horrible husband. Last time she got the upgrade, but this time I was able to take it. So it was kind of fun to fly out there.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like those stories happen to other people, but have never happened to me. So that's lucky that that's happened twice.
I did get lucky. And our bags were like one of the first 15 bags to come off the carousel.
Don't you love that when that happens? It's just like that. There's some other level of anxiety sitting at that carousel, wondering if your bag is going to come. It's not a good feeling.
And sometimes it's like you get the first bag and then the last bag. You're just there the whole time. Yeah.
What's last question? What's one thing that you wish that you would have like known in advance or done differently?
My kids are now getting better at swimming and love to snorkel. And so, like, if you're going to rent snorkel gear for the day, it's around $35 for the day. I could have just gone on Amazon and bought our own and had them for the whole week.
And then you have it next time.
And then I would have had it next time.
But you'd have to schlep it.
Yep.
So
That would have been pretty good. But one of the things that we did, we fortunately had some free nights that we were able to stay at the Ritz-Carlton up in Kapalua. And with that is this lounge pass where your food from breakfast, lunch, and dinner is covered. So it was about $700 for 5 days, but it made it so much easier with little ones to be able to have that place where you could go to for all of your meals, even throughout the day for little snacks. Because breakfast for little kids, bacon and eggs and fruit is $25. It adds up. And so that was a great hack to be able to sort of add that on there.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great trip.
No, we had a good time.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about your trip?
My favorite part about the trip is that my husband and I have found this very fun spa brand called QC Terme, or Spa Wonders, which is an Italian group that has about, I think, 12 different locations throughout Italy. And they have these just magical spas where you can go and you can enjoy, and you look up at the mountains and you relax, and we just love it. We just love it. We've been to almost all of them. We only have one left in Turin. Italy is the only one we haven't been to. Been to all the rest. Wow. So my favorite part of the trip was just enjoying that, certainly.
Any travel hacks for going abroad? I mean, you shared one with me about ways to find really good under the radar restaurants.
Oh yeah, there's some local websites that you can go to in different countries where you don't just depend on TripAdvisor to find your restaurants. You actually go and to like a website that's for people who are more like foodies. So I found one in France called Fooding. Love Fooding, I think is what the name of it is. And you can basically sort by the types of food you like, and it's these underrated restaurants. And that was such a good travel hack. The other travel hack that we usually do is I book the hotel directly, as opposed to going through a travel website whenever I go to the spas, the QC Termes, and you tend to get discounts and then upgrades too if you do that. So that was a really good travel hack as well.
I like that one. What are some other 3 to 5 travel hacks? I mean, you bucketed it in a number of different areas, from flights to hotel, cruises, yachts, concerts, games, and even bang for your buck bang for your buck travel ideas.
Yeah, so let's go through a few of them. I think number one, flights. So when we're looking at flights online, the first thing I do, you mentioned actually the date situation where you looked at Saturday versus Tuesday to Tuesday. I'm a Delta SkyMiles member. And so I tend to just always choose an airline and then stick with that airline, because the more you stick with the same airline, the better I think the benefits are. So before I go on vacation, the first thing I do is I put in sample dates of what I think I want to do. And then I use the date finder tool to figure out which dates are actually the cheapest dates. And then I'll move my dates around depending on what it shares with me are the best days to fly. So flight-wise, number one rule from my perspective is you can have theoretical dates, but use that flight finder so that you can choose the days of the week where I think the flights tend to be the cheapest. What's your hack?
I mean, I was blown away by being able to be flexible on dates and how much of an impact that makes on price. We have our own airline that we stick to, American, Hawaiian. I mean, they all have these preferred programs nowadays.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid to open up a new card in advance of a trip to get those extra miles.
Oh, yeah.
Because those miles sometimes are transferable to other airlines, other benefits. And so it's a great way to get 1 or 2 flights covered round trip for your next flight or even this particular one. And so we've got Southwest, we've got American, we've got Hawaiian, we've got Alaskan. So we've got a few.
You've got a few to choose from.
Yeah.
This is one struggle that I have is I am always comparing and contrasting the benefit of using my credit card as a resource. So I have the American Express Platinum card. You can go online to see their travel deals. They have an international program where I could take Lufthansa or another airline and utilize the American Express travel deal, or I could transfer my American Express points to Delta, which oftentimes are a better deal than booking through American Express. And then I could use those points to book a Delta flight. So I'm always playing this game of, are the international deals on American Express website better than transferring my points to Delta points and booking through Delta directly? And it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss sometimes, but I do tend to play that game as well, just to kind of see what else is out there and if there's a better way to do it.
You sound just like Brianna. I mean, her research background and just sort of how she operates in terms of trying to evaluate and look at all those deals, her spreadsheets look just like what you described. So we often do the same thing.
Well, and sometimes these credit cards offer points transfer specials, right? Like even this last month, I think that you and I both saw quite a few where you could transfer to the points system that British Airways runs under, and it was like a really good deal to switch your American Express points to be airline points. And so that's something I think both me and your wife are paying attention to.
That's how we got a full week in Hawaii completely covered by points a year ago. There was a small window of a special where you got 3 or 4 times points if you moved from Amex to Marriott. Mm-hmm. We transferred 30 or 40,000 points so from Amex Platinum to Marriott. It covered a full week.
At the hotel.
At the hotel.
Well, that's our travel hack number 2, which is hotels. So that's an amazing one, right? Is if you can get those like discounted travel transfers.
I love being able to do that. I mean, the American Express Platinum, I know it's expensive, maybe $700 for the year, but the automatic upgrades, when you use it to check in, the discounts around food and spa that you get while staying there, and being able to transfer the points to other, preferred partners, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, the American Express Platinum hotel benefits are incredible. Even when we were in Lyon, France, we booked through American Express. The only downside is sometimes you have to prepay, so you kind of have to pay attention to that and really accept that you are going to be going to that hotel and you don't need the flexibility to change. But went there, got the $100 credit for the hotel, got upgraded to a 2-story junior suite at this hotel in Lyon overlooking the Rhone River. It was so magical and so beautiful, and this hotel was like a few $100 a night, but we booked it through American Express, so we were able to get the upgrades to stay in a hotel that's like more like $1,000 a night for half that price. And so that was really like such a good deal as well. So I think that American Express specifically has the best hotel deals.
They're really good. Yeah. I mean, not to mention the access to the airport lounges and whatnot, but I've found that we get treated a little bit better when we, book using that card and direct with the hotels than using hotels.com.
Yes. Those actually, I learned this from a travel agent. If you use hotels.com or Expedia, the hotel puts you in the lowest room. So they actually dislike those booking sites. They like booking direct or booking through American Express. Or through a travel agent, and so they'll put you in better rooms if you book through those groups than if you use hotels.com. So something good to know.
That's interesting. I know we've got a large subset of clients that like to go on cruises, or even potentially yachts. Mm-hmm. What are some things that you've learned about leveraging cruises and or yachts? I've got a couple things that I've found interesting over the years.
So I have a couple friend that cruises all the time. And their best advice is to book last minute. So if you have the flexibility to not book in advance, booking last minute can offer you the best deals from the cruise lines because they're trying to fill rooms. And so that's something that not everybody has the option to book last minute, but that's one of their best pieces of advice. And then their other piece of advice is to always buy the packages in advance, the Wi-Fi package, the drinks package. And then when you're booking, don't book excursions through the cruise line. Instead, book locally wherever you're going into port, because they're going to be better deals if you book locally than if you book through the cruise line. So I phoned a friend for that one, and that was their best advice.
A few years ago, well, more than a few years ago now, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, we took a trip to Greece, and it was awesome. We went right before May 1st, so it was towards the end of April where we got really good weather, and we got a great deal and stayed in some amazing places. But there was these people off the island, I think of Mykonos, we're having breakfast. They were just jumping off this yacht into the water. And I looked at Brianna and I said, man, that would be amazing to be able to do something like that. It looked like a small yacht, maybe 8 to 10 people on it, just as many crew. And I was talking with someone there and they said, you know what the trick is after September 1st, those things are like 60 or 70% discounted. So something that would normally be $15,000 to $20,000 for 5 or 6 days, you can get for $5,000 to $7,000 for the week with some friends. And so you think about it, you're like, well, you know, you get 3 couples, $7,000 a person. You're spending a week on a yacht, the second week of September, while you're still getting great, you know, weather, warm water, and the restaurants and places are still open.
Just that little date change can go a long way.
Yeah.
As long as it's not somewhere where hurricane season exists. I think then you're safe.
That's true.
What about, I guess, travel tip number 4, concerts or like sporting events? Anything that you would suggest people do to kind of maximize their opportunities there?
I mean, look, I love sporting events and I love concerts. If it was left up to me, we'd never go to them because you've got to, you know, plan it out and you've got to pay attention to the dates and, you know, special release schedules. But Brianna was able to get some amazing tickets to sporting events and concerts through the American Express pre-sale.
Yeah.
That was 3 or 4 days before the actual release. And so I'm grateful to have someone that's as organized as her, but paying attention to those things.
You know, for the first time, I also called the American Express concierge, which is a special phone number. You call, people answer. This is not a hotline. You call, immediately someone answers, their American Express concierge, and I was trying to get Liverpool tickets for football in England, soccer in the U.S., and they were able to get me the most amazing seats. There was like included tea and coffee and beverages and basically a box setting for something like $500 a ticket, which Liverpool games are very hard to get tickets to because Liverpool and all the, I think, football clubs in England play a game where you only can get tickets if you go to a certain number of away games or if you have inherited a ticket. So it's really hard to get tickets otherwise, but the fact that American Express concierge, they answer the phone immediately and they got me tickets within 24 hours. So that was pretty amazing.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Okay.
So bang for your buck travel ideas, currency exchange rates, winter travel, stuff like that. What are some things that you found?
Well, I think that the winter travel is certainly one of them. Like if you're willing to do winter travel, the tickets, especially to Europe, are going to be way cheaper than trying to go in the summer, and there's not going to be as many crowds. I think a few maybe unknown travel tips that I would share. Car rental agencies have gotten out of control. So one of the things that's been happening the last few times I've traveled is I tend to get a bill for thousands of dollars of damage after every single car rental. And if I'm able to send them back a video that I took of the car, they waive all of that. So they're basically kind of like trying to rack up damage charges no matter what. Like I actually didn't, just to be clear, didn't damage any of my rental cars. They just essentially were trying to get somebody to pay for any types of like dings and maintenance on the cars. And so now one of the travel tips I have is videotaping the whole outside of the car immediately in the parking lot so I can show that I did that before I took it off and time-stamped. Yeah. Now I have to video in the car. So the last rental I got pit photos back from Hertz had photos in the car where every single like dirt spot on the leather of the seat they were trying to claim as a damage. And so that's one travel tip for everyone is be crazy paranoid about the rental car situation because that's a fast way to ruin some memories from $1,000 rental car bill afterwards.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about that. One of the ones that I've got a Fidelity cash management account, and I know that there's a lot of, great ATM and checking accounts out there.
Yeah.
What I love about this one specifically is I get reimbursed any ATM fee from anywhere. And so if I go take $20 out of an ATM and it's a $4 surcharge, I get reimbursed that. But if I go internationally and I use those ATMs, not only do I get reimbursed the ATM fee, but my currency exchange rates are much cheaper because it's just pulling those euros directly from the machine. And so I've loved that perk of that card or that account.
Yeah.
It's been great.
That's incredible. I feel like not having to pay those fees is so helpful. I also use Capital One a lot. Oh, this is an interesting travel hack, actually, is a lot of places in Europe don't take American Express. So you have to have a secondary card that you need to use, especially when you're going through the insane amount of tolls that exist on the roads in Italy and in France. Having a MasterCard as opposed to American Express is going to come in very key, and you want to have one that doesn't charge you fees for every single transaction, right?
Feels sort of like going to Costco. You got to use Visa.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the big takeaways with all this, there's a lot of ways to kind of find, save, and make extra money, or creating a better experience when you're traveling. There's a number of resources out there, whether it's the Points guy, he's on Instagram, he's on YouTube. We follow him and get a lot of updates. There's even a guy by the name of Colin Stroud. We can put his information in the link as well. He sent an email out last week, I think on Thursday or Friday. If you don't have a Chase Sapphire Preferred, right now you can get 100,000 points by spending $5,000 in the first 3 months.
Incredible.
That's almost a free trip to Hawaii. So
that's wild.
Taking advantage of stuff like this is important.
Yeah, I think, historically speaking, 10 years ago when we did financial planning for clients and we had to put a budget in place, we had a travel budget that had to come from income. Now travel budgets can come from points, and that is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stacey.
This is fun.